deacons, our mothers, our choir, ushers, nurses, all that make up this congregation. We greet you in the name of Jesus. We thank God for you. We call your attention to Luke chapter 7. The preaching text is 1 through 10. For the sake of time, we'll just read verses 9 through 10. Right. Luke chapter 7. Luke 7. Preaching text is 1 through 10. But for the sake of reading, we'll look at just 9 and 10. When you have it, would you say amen? Amen. Would you pray with me? Father in heaven, we come now in Jesus' name. Father, I ask you to stand in my body, think with my mind, and speak through these lips of clay. Yes, Lord. Anoint the hearts of the congregation that they may hear what you have to say. Yes, Lord. And then, Father, once you have spoken, I pray that all of us will run out of here and apply what you have said to us. My Lord, my Lord. We ask this in Jesus' name, for his sake. And people of God say it together. Amen. Luke chapter 7, verses 9 and 10. Let's read that together. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent, returning to the house, found the servant whole that had been sick. I want to place emphasis on verse number 9. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled. And he turned about and said to the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. My Lord, my Lord. Again, at the beginning of verse 9, when Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him. Right. A few minutes, I want to talk about faith that made Jesus marvel. Right. Faith that made Jesus marvel. When I was a sophomore in college, we were getting ready to go to state. And in order to make it to the state championship, you had to come in the top 3 in the regional championship. And I had been winning most all of my races. But in college, you have to be prepared. Every track meet, there are no days like in high school when you just run off and leave. In college, if you're not on your game, you can lose anytime. And there were 2 boys from Itawamba, Mississippi Junior College. They were fast. They had been on my heels all the season. And the regional championship was being held at Itawamba Junior College. And we had ran the prelims, and I made it to the finals. And then in the finals, both of those guys from Itawamba jumped the gun. The referee did not call it back, and I ended up in third place.
My Lord. Right.
I was angered. I was upset because it was an obvious jump. Those guys had been trying to beat me all year. They couldn't do it. But now we're at their home.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the referees is cheating in their favor. And these were tall guys, and I'm 5'7", and these guys about 6'2". And so they beat me, and normally when I win my races in the blocks, you know, they shoot the gun, I beat everybody out of the blocks, and now just catch me if you can. Yeah. But they beat me out the blocks that day because they jumped the gun.
My Lord, my Lord.
I'm not going to catch no 6'2" guy if you beat me out the blocks. So.
Right.
And I was angry, and normally I don't brag until the season's over. But when we got to the finish line, I looked at both the boys. I said, I'll see y'all at state. I said, I'm going to beat both of y'all at state. That's what I told them. I said, y'all cheating today. And so I was letting them know that the state championship wasn't going to be like that.
My Lord, my Lord.
And so I went and found out what the state record was. And I knew that if I ran the state record, I would beat them. Right. I have an uncle, his son lived next door here. I had an uncle, he was having some problems, and so he decided to go to see, you know, some of those two-headed folk y'all like to go to sometimes. He went to see one of those folks. And so while he was there, I wanted to get some luck too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was sitting there thinking about, what do I need to do? Should I ask this man for some luck to make sure I done told these boys I'm going to beat them at state. And I need an edge. How can I get this edge?
All right.
And the more I thought about talking to this man, I thought about who I was.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord.
I'm a child of God.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
And I don't need to go see no sorcerer
Come on, God.
to give me an edge over my enemy.
All right.
And so instead of me talking to the sorcerer, I prayed.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
And while I was praying, the Lord placed in my mind, I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to allow you to win.
Right, all right.
And what the Lord said to me, you always do better in competition than you do in practice.
Yeah, yeah.
So the last day of practice, when practice was over, what they didn't know is the Lord had placed in my spirit that if I run a 9-9 in practice, Brother Coleman, I could run a 9-7 in competition.
My Lord, my Lord.
And the state record was 9-7. And so when practice was over, I said, Coach, I need to do one more thing. He said, what's that? I said, I need to run 100. He said, we done been through a whole practice. You want to run another 100? I said, yeah. I said, there's something I need to see. He said, okay. So I got all my friends and I lined them up according to their speed. It was 3 of them. The fastest guy, I only gave him about 1.5 yards ahead of me. Another guy gave him about 5 yards. Another guy gave him about 6 or 7 yards. And I know that the only way I could catch them, I had to run a 9-9. But keep in mind, I didn't tell nobody. I put my best friend at the finish line and had him to time it. And when I got to the finish line, they called it off and we came out. And I caught the last person at the finish line.
Right.
I wasn't happy over that. I came back, I said, what's my time? He said, 9-9. At that point, I knew I was a state champion. Because this is what the Lord gave me while I was praying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Somebody got a race here today. Some of y'all are running races.
My Lord, my Lord.
And you need some faith.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that you need for God to give you an edge over your enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a strategic advantage. And I came to tell you that grace ain't fair.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord.
So you have some privileges and some advantages when you are a child of God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I knew who I was. And so what I want to do today, I want to encourage you to put your faith into action. I want you to put your faith into gear. And I want to encourage you that there is one thing to be a hearer of the word, but it's another thing to be a doer.
My Lord, my Lord.
And so it's one thing to believe, but you need to express your belief. And so I want to ask you today, there are some things, listen to me, that is under your authority.
Right.
There are some things that is under your authority.
Yeah.
And because it's under your authority, God will give you the victory in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because it's under your authority.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, it's sick. And it's ready to die.
All right. All right.
It's under your authority, but it's not healthy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's under your authority, but it's not right. It's under your authority, but it looks like you're getting ready to lose it.
Preach, preach.
It's under you, but it ain't working like it ought to be working. It's under you, but it's not functioning the way it ought to be functioning. It's under you.
Yes, sir.
It's under your authority, but it's dying while it's under your authority. What is it that's dying in your life?
Let's see, Doc. Let's see.
What is it that you got sick in your life? What is it that you got unhealthy in your life? But yet God has given you authority over that thing.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
I told y'all before, my wife and I first started having kids, I had to watch what I said to my sons. I had Lamar Bears, and I would say to them, you better stop that, because if you don't, you're going to get hurt. And every time I said it, they got hurt. Because guess what? I said it. Because God had given me authority to say it. Because I'm the head of the household, and when I speak, it's not just me speaking, but God is backing me up in what I say.
Come on, Doc.
Because of the position that He has given me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I want y'all to know that you're not in this thing by yourself.
Right.
There are some things that God has placed under you.
Come on, Doc.
And it's under your authority, but it's not functioning the way it ought to be functioning. You're sick and you're ready to die.
Let's see, Doc. Let's see. Let's see.
Preaching, Doc.
Is it your husband?
My Lord, my Lord.
You know that relationship ain't right. Is it your wife? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it your sister? Is it your brother?
My Lord, my Lord.
Or is it some other relationship that's dying on the vine? What is it that's dying in your family? What is it that's dying in your life? What is it that is not healthy? And yet, you have authority over it.
My Lord, my Lord.
This message is for you today.
Right. Preach, Doc. Preach, Doc.
Is it your bank account that's dying? Somebody said, no, that's already dead. Thank God for the resurrection. Jesus got up out the grave early Sunday morning. And because he got up, your bank account can get up. I like to make preaching practical. If you can't use what the word said, ain't no good, is it?
Preach, Doc.
What's dying in your life? What's sick in your life? What is it that you done almost gave up on?
Right.
Is it your dreams?
My Lord, my Lord. Preach, Reverend.
You had some dreams that you want to accomplish. You had some goals. You had some objectives. You had some things that you wanted to accomplish. But you've been talking to the wrong people.
My Lord, my Lord.
And now they don't put all of that negativity in your head.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
And it don't look like it's going to come to pass. Therefore, you have allowed it to die.
Right.
You just it's almost dead. You had almost, you had said, well, you know what, I guess, you know, that ain't going to happen. That ain't God's will in my life. Who put it in your spirit?
Right.
Preach, Reverend.
Right.
Preach, Reverend.
Yes.
See, this is what happens when you're talking to the wrong person. You can't tell everybody what you're trying to accomplish.
Preach, Reverend.
You can't tell everybody because there are some dream killers out there.
My Lord, my Lord.
If you don't believe it, that's Joseph. Told his family, I had a dream.
My Lord, my Lord.
And the Lord had placed me over the family. And they said, we got to kill this dreamer. You got some dream killers out there. You can't talk to everybody. Then he had another dream in that dream. Not only would he be over his brothers, but he's going to be over his mom and dad.
My Lord, my Lord.
So we got to get rid of this boy. You need to know there's some dream killers.
Dream killers, Doc.
Some dream killers.
Yeah.
And some of you have allowed some of those dream killers in your bosom. I came to tell you God can save anything.
My Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is it that moves God? What moves him? What is it that makes God take note? You do know God is omniscient, don't you?
Yeah.
So he knows what your dream is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, it was him that put it in your bosom.
Yes, sir.
He placed it there. And you said, I'm a child of God, and he knows what I want to accomplish. He can just give it to me. No, it don't work like that.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
That's not the way it works.
That's how it works. My Lord.
Does he know? Yes. Does he know what your dream is? Yes. But instead of you talking to him about your dreams and your goals, you've been talking to dream killers.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
Telling you that you can't do it. You've been talking to discouraging folk, or you have allowed the devil, who is also the greatest dream killer. See, when Peter was walking on the water,
My Lord.
and when Peter said, Lord, if that's you, bid me to come to you.
Yeah.
And Jesus said, come. And then Peter got out the boat and started walking on the water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But then when he noticed now, it was already thundering and lightning.
Come on, Doc.
The wind was already blowing, and the rain was already tossing the ship.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water. But then when he took his eye off Jesus See, some of y'all ain't talking to
My Lord,
nobody.
my Lord, my Lord.
You preaching, Doc.
But you're looking at the wind. You're looking at the waves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're looking at the storm on the sea.
Yeah.
And you're saying, this storm is so bad. What am I doing out here?
Come on, Doc.
And now your marriage has started sinking.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord.
And now your relationships have started sinking. And now your dreams and your goals have started to sink because you're looking at your surroundings. You're looking at what you can see instead of believing what can happen. But as long as Peter was looking at Jesus.
Yes, sir, that's it.
Preach, Reverend.
As long as he was looking at Jesus.
Right.
Look at me. I'm doing what nobody else have ever done. But Jesus.
My Lord, my
I'm
Lord.
walking on this water.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what you can do when you look at Jesus. What moves him? What moves God? I'm a member of the church. That doesn't move him. I pay my tithes. That doesn't move him. I even gave an extra offering. That doesn't move him. What is it that moves God? What is it?
What is it, Doc?
What is it that made God stop working in your favor?
All right.
What is it?
What is it?
This story that I gave you today, it's a wonderful picture that will help us understand what really moves God.
All
My
right.
Lord, my Lord.
Matthew 17:20, it says, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. And nothing shall be impossible for you. This is a hyperbole. Like when Jesus said, judge ye not that you be not judged, for the same judgment you meet shall be met upon you. First take the log out of your eye so you can see the speck of sawdust in somebody else's eye.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a hyperbole. You can't put a whole log in your eye.
Come on, Doc.
And Jesus said remove mountains. When you got faith as a mustard seed, your faith shall remove mountains. He really not talking about a mountain. It's a hyperbole. But he's saying if you have some faith,
Make it plain, Doc.
you can accomplish the impossible.
Make it plain, Doc.
Yeah.
And some of y'all have already came to the conclusion that if my relationship ends up happy,
Make it plain, Doc.
some of you have already came to the conclusion that if I can do this, this is the same thing as mountains being moved. And Brother Coleman can become mayor
Right.
in the city of South Bend,
Preach, Doc.
home of the Klan.
Preach, Doc.
Yeah. My goodness.
You preaching, Reverend.
Yeah.
If I can just simply overcome my marriage. If I can, if in some way God would fix the relationship between my mother and my daughter and my children and my sons and my daughters, if that could just work out
My Lord.
and bring peace there where we're not at each other's throats,
Preach, Reverend. Preach, Reverend.
that's the mountain being moved.
Yes.
If I could just make enough money to just, I don't have to be a millionaire, but just make enough money to be comfortable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a mountain being moved in my life.
Yes, sir.
That's what some of you are saying. Some say, I don't want much, but I do need what I need.
Very much.
But God knows you need it.
Amen.
So, here the text says,
just had faith of a mustard seed, you should say to this mountain be removed. It will be. It'll be, because nothing is impossible for God.
Right. Nothing is impossible.
James says, look, don't you know that faith without works is dead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In other words, what do you want to happen? What do you want?
I know it's true.
What do you want? Whatever it is that you want, go to work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen.
If you want it, work on it.
All right.
Don't you know you got a promise? Seek, and you shall find. Knock,
My Lord.
and the door shall be open. Ask, and it shall be given. Don't you know that?
All right.
You got to put it to work. Faith without works is dead.
Preaching, Doc. Preaching, Doc.
The writer of Hebrews said, without faith it is impossible
It's impossible.
to please God.
My Lord, my Lord.
For he that cometh to God must believe that he is. You must believe that God is. You must believe that God is.
All right.
And that he is a rewarder. He will reward you if you go to him.
All right.
The songwriter once wrote, I'll let nothing change my faith. I'll let nothing shake my faith. I'll let nothing shake my faith. I'll let nothing, I'll let nothing, I'll let nothing, I'll let nothing, I'll let nothing.
Preach, Doc.
Let the clouds roll. Let the wind blow. Let the lightning flash. Let the waves beat up on the ship. But I'll let nothing.
Nothing, Doc. Nothing.
Nothing.
I won't even let my wife. Even though if things ain't right between her and I, regardless of how she's acting, I'm going to have my faith, not in her, in God.
Right.
That God can fix her.
My Lord.
And I came to tell all of you married men, there's going to come a time in your marriage
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
where you just going to have to turn it over to the Lord.
Preach, Reverend. Preach, Reverend. My Lord, my
The
Lord.
text says that this man's faith, Jesus marveled at it.
Forever.
He marveled at this man's faith.
My Lord, my Lord.
How can I have some great faith in God when I'm having trouble?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this. What kind of faith did this man have?
Come on, preacher.
What kind of faith that this man had that Jesus was so interested in his faith that he marveled.
Let's see, Doctor.
The text says when he had ended all these sayings, and I made a list of everything, I said, well, I can't preach all of that. But go back and read chapter 6. And Jesus had a whole lot of teachings, a whole lot of sermons in chapter 6. You know, he was teaching on giving. Give, it shall be given on you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. He was teaching on forgiveness. If somebody forgive you, if somebody do something to you, forgive them. I mean, all of those kind of issues is back in chapter 6. So when he had finished these sayings to the audience of the people, he entered to Capernaum. And there was a certain centurion there. That centurion is a Roman soldier that got 100 soldiers under him.
Right.
He's a man of authority.
Yeah.
And he had a servant or a slave who were dear unto him. In other words, he loved him. He was an honorable servant. And he was sick and ready to die. In other words, this man was so sick, it was estimated estimated that with this kind of sickness, he will die. And I came to tell you that the kind of sickness that this man had was an unusual sickness. Now, I'm preaching out of Luke. But Matthew recorded the same story.
Yes, sir. Yes, he did.
And in Matthew told us what kind of sickness that the man had. In Matthew, it says he had palsy.
All right.
In other words, the man was paralyzed.
Yeah.
Now, all right, he's paralyzed. What is paralysis? Paralysis is when the human body goes through so much pain that it literally shuts down so the person can't feel the pain.
My Lord.
But it's shutting down, you can't move.
My Lord. My Lord.
Are y'all listening to me?
Yeah.
But now, this man had palsy.
Palsy, Doc.
But now, this man, palsy situation was unusual. Because in Matthew, if you read, it said he was grievously tormented. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. He was grievously tormented. Wait a minute. He got palsy. He can't feel. But this man could feel. So his pain, although it had passed the human threshold, because normally when you get in that much pain, the body just simply shut down.
Right.
And you're paralyzed. But this man's body didn't shut down. But yet it passed the normal human threshold. That's why it said he was grievously tormented.
Tormented, Doc.
And he was ready to die. He wanted to die. In other words, he was expected to die.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so he was in this kind of situation. He was in so much pain, he was ready and expected to die.
My Lord, my Lord.
That was his condition. What do you have like that? That you're not going through traditional problems. You got some unusual stuff. You got some stuff ain't nobody heard of before. Your friends ain't ever told you that they went through some stuff that some of y'all are going through.
Yeah.
You're going through some new stuff. You're going through some unusual stuff.
Preach now.
This man had a condition that he was expecting to die from.
Expecting to die, Doc.
But there was something else unusual. This centurion loved him. And he was his slave. And watch this. The text said that he heard about Jesus. He heard about Jesus and he sent the religious leaders to talk to Jesus about his servant. So the first kind of faith, y'all write this down, is a responding faith.
Responding faith, Doc.
He heard about Jesus. He heard that Jesus could heal the sick.
Responding faith.
And so he responded. When he heard it, watch this, he believed it. And he acted upon his belief by sending the religious leaders to talk to Jesus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, why did he send them? He was a Roman. In other words, he was a Gentile.
All right.
And he knew that he could not ask Jesus himself.
All right.
Because Jesus was a Jew, and the gospel was to the Jews first, and it was not yet known that it was also going to be to the Gentiles.
All right. Come on, Doc.
And so if Jesus came in contact with the Gentile, he would be defiled. And so he did not want to defile Jesus. So he called in other words, he got the network hookup.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
He said, I know some folk that I built the church for. I'm going to call those folk in and tell them my condition because I heard that Jesus could heal my servant. So I'm going to send them to talk to Jesus in my place.
Teaching.
Sometimes we live our lives so ragged. Well, let me just say it like this. When I was here at Greater Friendship, when I first came, I was helping Pastor Davis. And the deacons had made me mad. And I told Pastor Davis, I said, Pastor, I'm not fit to go preach today. He said, what's wrong? And I told him what the deacons had done. And that man walked up to me, laid his hands on my head.
My Lord, my Lord.
And he began to pray for me. And as he was praying, I could literally feel anger leaving my body. Now, I wasn't fit, but I was when he got through praying.
Oh God, my Lord.
What I'm trying to say is sometimes we can get in a condition that we can't ask the Lord for what we want because of our condition. Sometimes, y'all won't be am I in here by myself? Are you always in fellowship with God? Are you always open to talk to Him? Is that line always open? Y'all know y'all do some stuff.
Right.
And sometimes what you do, you didn't cause it. Somebody did it to you. They made you mad. And in your angry state, you weren't fit.
Right. True. Tell the truth, Pastor.
So sometimes when you need to get a prayer through and you know you ain't ready,
Right.
you need to have somebody. Are y'all praying with me? You got to have somebody
Yes.
that can get a prayer through in your favor. So he sent these religious leaders, and then when they got to Jesus, they said to him, look, there is a centurion and he's worthy because he loved, watch this, he loved our nation.
My Lord.
In other words, he loved the Jewish people.
Yes, sir.
He loves us, and he have displayed his love toward us because he have built us a temple.
My Lord, my Lord, my
Wow,
Lord.
this guy is awesome. Here is a centurion, and he done literally built them a temple.
My Lord, my Lord.
So he's worthy. And Jesus, he wants you to come to him and heal his servant.
Right.
And so Jesus was convinced. He said, okay, I'll do it. Then when they went back, and now, this man said, you know what? I know these guys are kind of crooked. These scribes and Pharisees. That's what he said to talk to Jesus.
Yes, sir.
He said, I know these guys, they're kind of crooked. So I don't know, did they say to Jesus what I wanted them to say? So I'm going to take my friends, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to get my friends, and I'm going to send them and go talk to Jesus in my behalf.
All right.
So he sent them out, and here's the message. Jesus, I'm not worthy for you to come to my house.
My Lord. My Lord.
Write this down.
My Lord. My Lord.
A reverence, which means honor.
Yes, sir.
He reverenced Jesus. He honored Jesus. I'm not worthy for you to come to my house. If you're going to,
My Lord.
the kind of faith that made Jesus marvel was the kind of faith that responded when he heard about Jesus. It's the kind of faith that honored Jesus.
Yes, sir, man.
You got to honor him. You got to reverence him. He said, I'm not worthy for you to come to my house.
Oh, Lord, oh, Lord.
I'm not worthy.
Right.
In other words, I don't want you to become defiled. You don't need to enter my house. And I want you to know that I understand authority.
My Lord. My Lord.
I understand it. I tell this man to go. And he goes. Please don't miss this. I tell this man to come, and he comes. I tell this man to do this and he do it. And then he said, I tell this servant that's sick, if I tell him to do something, he's going to do it. And he said, Jesus, I am a man that is under authority. In other words, I work for Caesar. And Caesar, are y'all with me? Caesar have me on a mission. I need this man in order for me to fulfill my mission.
Right.
So I'm a man under authority. Caesar tell me what to do. And I'm on Caesar's mission. And while I'm on Caesar's mission, I say to this man, do this, and he do it. And I say to this man, do that, and he do it. I tell him to go here, and he goes. Y'all with me?
Preach, Reverend.
And then he says, I know you are on a mission.
My Lord. My Lord.
And your mission
All right.
is what? Not Caesar, but God.
Yeah.
Just like I have authority, I know you got authority.
My Lord. My Lord.
Write this down. Revealing faith.
Revealing faith, God.
He revealed that he understood the mission of Jesus. In other words, whatever I'm asking God to do, it has to be already within his mission.
All right.
It has to already be in his purpose.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy who was getting ready to get married, and he was having some problems, and he wanted to go one direction, and his fiance wanted him to go into another direction, and he kept saying, my goals. And he wanted to do one thing and she wanted to do another, and he kept saying, my goals. I said, no. These are not your goals.
Come on, God.
These are family goals. Because God has made you head over the household.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And because you are head over the household, your mission is to provide for your family. So these are not your goals, these are family goals. So whenever you speak, you got to say, our goals.
Come on, God.
Because you are acting in behalf of your family. And when in Jesus' mission, Jesus was acting according to the will of his Father.
Yes, sir.
And the centurion was saying, Jesus, I want you to know that I understand your mission.
My Lord.
But not only do I understand your mission, but your Father would not have sent you on a trip. Come on, help me, I'm closing now. My Father would not have sent me on a trip and not gave me the authority to accomplish what he sent me to accomplish. I wish your Father wouldn't have done that. So just like Caesar, he didn't just give me a mission, he gave me authority.
Yes, sir.
That's why when I tell that man to come, he coming. If I tell him to go, he gonna go. If I tell him to do this, he gonna do it. If I tell him don't do it, he ain't gonna do it. And watch this. I understand that if I got that much authority,
Preach, Reverend. Preach, Reverend. Preach, Reverend.
when only Caesar is my authority,
Preach, Reverend.
I know that God is, the Father is your authority. And I know you can just speak. You don't have to come to my house. You can simply speak the word, and my servant will be healed.
Speak the word.
Somebody here today,
Preacher.
you just need God to speak.
Preacher.
That's it.
You got to reveal your faith.
My Lord.
You got to demonstrate to God, I understand your mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and mission. You're not just the husband. You're not just the daddy. You're the authority in that household. You got to act like it. Don't walk around to me, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
My wife is acting up, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Come on, Doc. Come on.
My children acting fool, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, you do.
My Lord.
God has placed you over the household. And when he placed you over it, he gave you the authority to do whatever needs to be done. And he gave you a wife to help you get it done.
My Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Demonstrate. Like the centurion. I understand your mission, Jesus. And what I'm asking you, I already know it's according to your will.
Yes, sir.
It's according to your mission.
Yes.
That's what the centurion said to his friends to tell Jesus. That he had a responding faith. He heard and believed, watch this, in spite of the noise,
All right.
he still believed. He had that revealing faith. I understand. I understand your mission. And what I'm asking you is working with your mission.
My Lord.
I'm helping you accomplish your mission. I'm a victim. In other words, Paul was a man born blind, that God may be glorified. Why is this man sick? So God can be glorified.
Come on, Doc.
And yet you're a Christian and think you don't go through nothing. Sometimes God give us trouble just so he can be glorified in your family.
My Lord. My Lord.
Sometimes just so he can be glorified.
You preach it, Doc.
So when Jesus heard this, Luke said, and when Jesus heard this, he marveled. He marveled.
Marvel, Doc.
In other words, not that it shocked Jesus, but the word marvel means admire.
Yeah, yeah.
I admire this man's faith.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, the same folk that the centurion sent to talk to Jesus in behalf of the centurion, you know what they said to Jesus? When Jesus healed a man with a withered hand, that Jesus had a devil. He healed a man with a withered hand on Sabbath. They said, man, you got a devil. Because if you was God or of God, you wouldn't have did this kind of work on the Sabbath day. Because Jesus said, I came into my own, and my own received me not.
Receive me not.
Huh? I came up to the Jews, they didn't receive me. But this man heard. In spite of his network who didn't believe, he believed.
Yes, sir.
And he demonstrated his faith, even to the point that where it said, and Jesus marveled. And here's my last statement. The text says that when, y'all come on, it's just kids coming out back, come on, focus, I'm closing now. Just refocus.
Come on, Doc.
Y'all been seeing kids, but some of them are yours. They're going to sit down. They're okay.
My Lord, my
Right?
Lord.
Listen. When Jesus heard what he said, the only thing the text says is that he marveled. Then, they're okay, they're okay, they're okay. And when they returned home, watch this. When they returned home, guess what? Man was healed.
Yes, yes.
He was healed. He was healed. Because of this man's faith. I started that story with y'all, but I didn't finish. I told y'all that I ran a 9-9 in practice. We got to state, we ran preliminaries. I made it to the finals. Those two guys made it to the finals. I had one on my left, one on my right. I was in lane 4. One was in lane 3. The other one was in lane 5. The guy said, run us to your mark. got my blocks, get set, I raised up, he shot the gun. I beat him out of blocks.
Yes, yes.
I could hear them breathing. The last 20 meters, I could hear them coming. And I could hear them breathing in my ear. And when I got to the finish line, I leaned.
Yes, yes. All
And I
right.
got first place.
Yes.
But I wasn't satisfied. Not only did I want to beat him, but I wanted to set the state record because I didn't ask God to let me beat them. Don't ever ask God, because see, that's sinful.
Yes.
Competition is sinful. See, the people that's running against you, it's like iron sharpening iron. They make you become all you can be. You wouldn't do some of the stuff if you didn't have somebody pushing you. And so I didn't ask God to let me beat them. I said, God, let me run and let me set the state record. And so although I crossed the finish line first, I walked back so I could find out what was my time, and it was electronic time. I said, what was my time? They said 9.7. I said 9.7 what? They said 9.7.0.
My Lord.
That means that's the state record, y'all. God is accurate, y'all. God can do whatever you need him to do. Amen. Faith that made Jesus marvel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what moves Christ.
Yeah.
If you got responding faith, and in the midst of people who don't have any kind of faith, in the midst of dream killers,
All right.
then, and you're working within the mission of God, then you can have that which you desire.
My Lord.
I extend you an invitation. You can come by letter, Christian experience, or a candidate for baptism, but whatever way would you come?